Hello everyone, today I'm going to tell you a lesson about language acquisition. Before go down to the lesson, I want to ask, can a dog tell another dog a joke? Or can a cat describe an experience so vividly that it makes the other cats feel like they just ate the same lasagna? Yes, language is an exclusively human condition. Other species divinely do communicate through movements and sound, such as cat, dog, and the other animals, but they are divinely not in the same class as humans. So, what is language acquisition? Have you had the wonderful experience of gazing at a newborn baby through a hospital nursery window? You know full well that those babies cannot appreciate your soulful admiration, right? They cannot understand a word you say, much less talk to you. But what kind of awesomeness happens in so short a time that turns this ball of pure cuteness into a determined feel pointing at everything in the grocery store? So, language acquisition is the process of building the ability to understand a language using it to communicate with others. And that's language acquisition, or more specifically known as first language or native language acquisition. For example, if you were born in Korea to parents who speak Korean with you, you will naturally end up talking Korean. And the other type of language acquisition is the one that happens after you've acquired your native tongue, named second language acquisition. Second language acquisition, on the other hand, happens at a very different time and place. Usually, it happens when you're older, maybe inside a school or university classroom, or nowadays even virtual one. Another factor that does better than aids to predict language acquisition is the quality of inputs. That is, even if you start learning a language later in life, you can still be better off than those who started early, as long as you spend considerable time interacting with native speakers or use authentic materials in your study. The quality of inputs determine your linguistic success. There are three triggers about language acquisition. First is Behaviorism by B.F. Skinner. Behaviorism its way in how we think about language acquisition. B.F. Skinner, an eminent behaviorist, proposed that language acquisition is really one big and complex case of conditioning. At its core, it's all pattern recognition, associating words with meaning. For example, if a baby hears the word milk often enough right before being fed from the bottle, he'll soon learn what that word means. If he always hears the word ball right before being handed a specific object, he'll begin to associate ball with its different. In the behavior's view, language is a simply reinforced input. And the second is Universal Grammar by Noam Chomsky. Now, in the 1960s, the field of behaviorism came under serious attack from the like of Noam Chomsky, a man recognized as the father of modern linguistics and about as decorated a scholar as any. He pointed out that if you really look closer, parents give only very little linguistic input for thoughts to run with. Chomsky argued that parent-child interactions are limited to repeated utterances of things like "put that back" and "open your mouth," not very likely to make significant dents towards the cause of language learning. And besides, when a child says, "I swim today," he didn't really get the from an adult figure in his life. That's not imitation. Chomsky asserts that human beings are biologically wired for language, that we have language acquisition developed, or LAD. Chomsky would argue that children use this language acquisition device to figure out the rules specific to their native language. He even goes on to assert that there is such a thing as universal grammar, for who else did the different languages end up with the same categorization of words, such as nouns, verbs, adjectives, and etc. When there's an infinite number of ways words can be categorized, we always have nouns, verb, and adjective. Chomsky's work represented the nature side of the nature-nurture debate, while the behaviorist account of language as a part nurturing. And the last is cognitive theory. Your churning brain might already asking any number of questions. Maybe you asking, so what proof do we have for this language acquisition device or LED? Or where in the brain is it located? Can we see it in action? Have we studied all the languages of the world to conclude that there's indeed universal grammar? The psychologist Jean Piaget is a major proponent of this cognitive model, which sees language acquisition in light of the modeling mental capacities. The idea here is that we're able to learn language because of our ability to learn. It's because our cognitive development, our brains become more complex and we learn so many things so fast. Babies initially don't talk because their brain's mental capacity still lack the experience and scaffolding necessary for language. But as babies grow, as they interact with adults, as they gain more experience, as they observe more things, and as they learn concepts, language becomes the inevitable result. And Piaget believed that the understanding of concept must first come before language. When a child says ball is red, he must first understand what a ball and the color red are before he can comment. So if you notice how language develops, it follows the complexity of our thinking. The more nuanced and layered our thinking, the more texture the language that comes out. That's why children talk one way and adults talk a different way. The the four language skills, they are listening, speaking, reading, and writing. That's a very difficult question to answer. It's not an either or kind of thing. When you get down to it, language acquisition isn't dichotomy but rather a continuum, and language learners stand at various stages of acquisition. And to make things a little bit more complicated, there are four basic language modalities or skills involved. They are listening, speaking, they are reading, speaking, and writing. They are closely related but still clearly different. So, before that, how do you know if or when you've got acquired a language? That's a very difficult question to answer. It's not an either or kind of thing. When you get down to it, language acquisition is a dichotomy but rather a continuum, and language learners stand at first step of acquisition. First is listening. We know that listening is the first language skill to be developed. Before babies can even talk, read, or write, they have already logged in serious hours listening. They listen to how their parents talk and the intonation and pauses and take their cues as their speaker emotions. Babies have this silent pace. When they are simply give you those cute bright eyes, no words are spoken, but you know something is happening inside those brains because one day they just start babbling. Something unintelligible at first, then gradually moving to the first word, like wooden sculpture slowly rising from individual blocks of wood. And next is speaking. Speaking is probably what you think of what we mention language acquisition. It is, after all, the most vivid proof of your linguistic corpus. Ironically, although speaking may be the end goal of many language learners, many devote very little study time to it. Many learners instead dive deep into vocabulary and grammar. Hey, I'm not saying you shouldn't do this. This is what I'm saying. Vocabulary helps on fronts, listening, speaking, reading, and writing, but it doesn't score a frontal hit at the main goal of speaking. Babies don't have those hands up. They babble away, butchering their mother tongues all day long, while their egos remain intact. Next is reading. Being able to read in second language opens up the whole world of literature to you. And remember, just to practice moving your mouth in the target language, try reading aloud the text in front of you the way you're hitting two birds with one stone. And the last is writing. Writing, in many respects, can actually be easier than speaking the target language. With the written form, language learners actually have a visible record in front of them. Written texts are more malleable than spoken words. You can scratch written text, reorder them to correct their tenses and the conjugation. Thank you, and God bless you.